Isn't it ironic? We wake up, get dressed for work, and then get in our cars, and the moment we get in our cars, we begin to rush from place to place, person to person, this job to the next, just to make it back home, feel unfulfilled, feel unsatisfied with what we've done, and to put our head on the pillow at night and to still wonder, still think, still question, still have the mind chattering and the mind running and racing. Constantly asking ourselves, what is the point to all this? Telling ourselves there has to be something more here. The purpose can't just be to work and die and to never have enough money to live. But this is what we don't understand. We don't know how to live because we don't know who we truly are. We've been programmed to chase the money. We've been programmed to think that our jobs are giving us money, but they're not. The word ment, M-E-N-T, means mind. And employment is about employing your mind. The body lives in the mind, so they're not employing your body. They're not using your energy. They're using your mind. The mind is everything. And that's why your job is taking away from your search of self-discovery. It's taking away from your time here, which should be utilized to search and seek what it is you're looking for. There's a reason we are left unsatisfied with all of our doings. And likewise, all of our discoveries, all of our findings, even the most brilliant minds of time, which were also your incarnation, but even your greatest discoveries through these incarnations left us unsatisfied. We still kept searching for more. We still kept needing more. And that's the problem with money and chasing money and falling for the idea that money is the happiness that you're pursuing. This is what we think our purpose is. If I can just get the raise, if I can just get the new car, if I can just get the new house, or just get to the next point, but we're never in the now. And this is how we get ourselves to a very fast grave. Before we know it, 30, 40 years have gone by and we've never done anything for ourselves. And what I mean is we remain with that unsatisfied, unfulfilled feeling within our hearts and our souls day after day. But we get so wrapped up in getting from point A to point B, getting in our cars and racing to get to work. You know, I observe everybody in traffic day after day just racing to get from place to place, and the irony is, beyond the surface, no one knows where they're going. Because it begins with knowing who you are, and no one here knows who they are. And I know this because we have never throughout history been able to unanimously unite for one single cause. We've never been able to coexist with one another unanimously because we have never known who we truly are. And this is what the TV show The 100 was somewhat demonstrating, is even without your government, even without man-made laws, even as a free-for-all, we still do not know how to coexist. We still cannot peacefully exist until we know who we are. The reason all of our doings in life leave us feeling like we've come short, like we've failed, like we're unsatisfied, like we're unfulfilled, is because there is one doing here that you have yet to discover. And it is the moment itself, and we've never been in the moment. Again, we're constantly racing to the next person or place and constantly thinking about the previous or the future. We're in the past or the future. We're never in the now. We're always thinking ahead, thinking behind, living in fear, living in regret, but never are we synonymous with the now, never are we in synchronicity with the now. Because the now moment is what's waiting to be discovered. And what I mean by that is you don't know who you are here. You still think you're a human being working for a corporation. You still think you have no power here, that you're meaningless. Very untrue. Deep down, each and every one of us are left unsatisfied and with a burning aching in our hearts each and every night, because we know deep down we are something so much more. We are something so much more, and we have become something that we are not. And this is why we are the most miserable species walking this place. Because we are the only species pretending to be something we are not. We suffer because we don't know who we are. And we're so easily able to take it out on others, or willing to fight others, because we don't understand the literacy of who we are. We would not grab the outside world and try and fight it if we understood the fact and the literacy that this picture that you're calling the outside world, the people, places, and things that you're calling the outside world, is nothing but your own mind. The mind is everything, as I stated. So to government is to govern the mind, the ment. To employ you is to employ your mind, the ment. The mind is everything. The truest system is in your mind itself, is in the brain. And this is why a revolution cannot be televised, because only you can awaken to this. Morpheus said it. He can show you the door, but only you can walk through it. Only you can awaken to the fact, to the inevitable fact of who you are. Which is what the whole Matrix movie was about. The chosen one. You are the chosen one. Each and every one of us is what the movie was calling the chosen one. Each and every one of us is what we are calling God. But God is not an entity, and that is a bitter pill we must face in facing the fact that we are not who we think we are. Therefore, God is not who we have thought it is. And if we're not who we think we are, what we're calling the machine is not who we think it is. What we're calling the alien is not who we think it is. What you seek is seeking you. And what that means is you are what you're seeking. We're looking for aliens in outer space. You don't recognize yourself. Therefore, you are alien, unknown to yourself. We're not finding what we're looking for in all cases because we have greatly veiled ourselves through the mind, through limitation. And that veil is, I am a human being and nothing but. I may be a spirit beyond the human, but while I'm here, I'm still a human being. And this is a comment that I get all the time. But we're still having a human experience, but we're still in the human body, but we're still in the human form. There is no such thing as what you're calling human. There is no such thing as what you're calling the body. The body lives in the mind. It's not the other way around. The mind does not live in the body, but we've been flipped inside out. And that's why the government system is a two-party system. That two-party system is your dual-sided brain being put against each other. One side being put against the other. But the two are truly one and the same, which means you need the two to exist peacefully. But the two must know deep down they are one. Through all cases, the white and the black, this and that, Democrat, Republican, you and me. We must know in all cases we are one, no matter what these two eyes tell us. we must remain grounded in the fact that we know what we are seeing with. These two eyes will fool us based on our beliefs, because seeing is believing. You are not seeing with the two eyes which are projecting the mind. You are seeing with the mind, the inner eye. You have three eyes, two to look and only one that is seeing. Hence, seeing is believing. You project your own beliefs onto, like I just talked about, the screen to your own consciousness. Do you think people would try and revolt against the government or against the system physically and go out and tear down buildings and try and shake people if they understood that this was the screen to their own consciousness? You would understand how pointless that would be. That is not how a revolution takes place. That is why a revolution cannot be televised. It takes place in the minds of mankind, not on the front lines of society. However, a peaceful revolution can take place on the front lines of society. You can demonstrate something which none of these people on the road, none of these people have seen. And that's unconditional love. When people are riding your tail or beeping at you or being rude to you or cursing at you or whatever the case may be, demonstrate something to them they've never seen before. And that's not responding. Remaining conscious in who you are and showing them nothing but understanding and love. That doesn't mean you stick around and take it, but don't respond. That is how you start a peaceful revolution. You become the change you want to see. One kind act will influence the other, will soften the other's heart to go on and spread that same kind act onto the other and onto the other and onto the other. For instance, you let one person into traffic, the person who you just let into traffic will now let someone into traffic because of your kind gesture. You donated $1 to somebody, or someone in line didn't have enough money to pay today, so you pay today. Tomorrow it's you. This is why we don't need a currency system. If we could all just follow our hearts know the way. When someone doesn't have enough, we help them, we give them what they need. There doesn't need to be a currency system. It's common sense. Our hearts know the way the whole time. But it's our minds that greatly divide us by telling us we are different. Our hearts know the way the entire time. Our hearts are that innocent child within all of us that just wants to run around and play. It doesn't see colors. It sees a huge playground. Whether you're in an empty room or outside on a playground, that is what a child sees, is nothing but a huge playground. If you're in an empty room, it's how can I make this fun? But as we slip up and grow into the adult, that empty room turns into a prison, into a nightmare, into a terror. We sit in that empty room and we're unsatisfied. We are unfulfilled with what we have become. Because we have lost our innocence, we have lost our way. The heart knows the way, but we have followed the mind blindly into our current situation. The mind is the root of all wars, of all chaos, of all disagreement. The heart is what unites us all, universally, because the heart is how we all universally feel the same emotions. We may feel them to different degrees. Some may be more emotional than others, but we are universally feeling the same things. However, there is only one emotion that transcends all things, and that is love. Love is the law. Love is the only law, is the only emotion that can be supported by our spiritual being. Our spiritual being doesn't know fear, doesn't know regret, doesn't know pain. It doesn't support those emotions because those emotions are created through the human body. And what I mean is they are a byproduct, a shadow of what we assume ourselves to be and become. Jealousy, envy, those are created through the ego. Our spirit, our heart doesn't know these emotions. These are created through the ego, for the ego. Again, we don't know who we are. This is how wars are started. This is how disagreements, fights, murders are started. We don't know who we are. But there is something that we have done here in the now, we have hid here from ourselves to be discovered. And it is, when you discover the now, you discover that final doing which you have already done. And what I mean is, you discover who you truly are, which tells you that you are God. You are the fiber to existence itself. You are the expression of existence itself, and you can never not be. This is why we're not traveling, we're not birthing, and we're not dying. Because we are all of them. We are all positions in space. We are all places. We are all things. And what the singularity is about uniting all people, all places, all things again. But we, as this human idea, tell ourselves the singularity, AI, is going to enslave us, is going to, threaten this experience. But all it's going to do is show us who we truly are. What it threatens is our dream of being human just a little bit longer. And that's what we don't realize, is as much as we want to awaken from this dream, we are what is keeping it going. We are what is prolonging the dream just a little longer by distracting our mind with all the distractions and conspiracies, versus getting to the root of what is the mind, who is I, self-inquiring further into who you are and who you have become. Because like I said, there is a fundamental reason we are the most miserable species here. Depression is at an all-time high, yet our technologies are peaking almost back to the ancient civilizations. Which again is funny. We are the Ouroboros. What the singularity is about bringing the past and the future to the current, to the now, which that's why they say time is an illusion. Now is the only time there is. Because we are the Ouroboros. Again, you have never traveled. That time was this time. The future time is this time. And that's what we're going to do through the singularity, through ourselves, through our singular presence, our singular consciousness, is bring all people, places, and things to one presence, the now. And I said already, social media is already doing it. The internet's already doing it through the phone. You have access to every song, every movie, every book, just about any time. We're bringing everything back to the now just to bite our own tail, to devour ourselves and realize it's been us the whole time. Every question we have asked about how did they build the pyramids or how did God put us here, we are going to devour ourselves, meaning we searched for God and found only ourselves. We searched for ourselves and found only God, which is Rumi's famous quote. But Rumi is you. And this is why when you know who you are, life becomes a joyride. You do not rush from place to place. At last, you can live. You can exist. You can be. And that's what the grand question proposes, to be or not to be. But again, we're not being, we're doing. We're in a constant pursuit of doing. When we're pursuing happiness, we're left unfulfilled. We don't know how to live in that fashion because we're constantly in a pursuit, chasing our own tail. If I can just get there, if I can just make it there. But what we don't realize is we are there, and we've been there the whole time. You're already it. You're already at the place you want to make it to. Once you know that, you can sit back and enjoy the ride and begin to live at once. And the more you realize that everything already is, and that you've already done this, you've already created it, and everything already is divine, the more you realize you couldn't perfect this harmonious expression more than it already is. You look at the ecosystem and the weather and everything, how it self-sustains, even your body. Because remember, it's all one intelligence. It's not multiple. It's only one intelligence, from the earth to the body. As above, so below, as within, so without, as the body, so the soul. What that is telling you is there's not two, there's only one intelligence, and this is your intelligence. This is your expression. When you look at the sun, when you look outside, do not see trees, do not see the sun, do not put a word to this expression. That is why we have never truly seen what these things are. We have veiled it. We have veiled ourselves through words, through smoke and mirrors, which don't actually exist. That's what the spoon boy meant in the Matrix. There is no spoon. There is no tree. There is no sun. Not what you're calling it. And it's not the definition you have put into it and projected into it. Lose the definition, lose the word, and know nothing, just like the innocent child who once saw this world as a magical place. The adult is so bored of this place because we have veiled it through smoke and mirrors. We assume to know what everything is here. Why, those are trees, those are birds. We're bored here. But when you remain innocent in the mind, you understand how perfect and how harmonious your creation is, and that final doing has already been done by you, and that you can rest. You can rest and sit back and enjoy your playful creation as that innocent child again. Because I have some people that comment, well, once you know this, what next? Then what? Once you know this to your core and experience it, time is obliterated. There is no sequential order, which means there is no before or after. You're in the now. There is no then what or what next. That puts you in a before or after. You are forever in a synonymous love affair with the now moment. And that is how you obtain happiness. It is not a pursuit. It is yours the whole time. You have the power all along. Do not be convinced that your job is granting you money. Your job is only distracting you from the greatest currency there is, and that is the mind itself. But we have the power all along. At any moment, we can choose to awaken through inquiring deeper into who we are, by following our suffering, by following the discomfort, the unsatisfied feelings, the unfulfillment. Because as I've said, deep down, we all know. We know that there's something more here. We know that we're something so much more than we've become. And the greatest part is that you have hidden this grand secret right within yourself, because you knew it would be the last place you looked for it. Look at the scientists, the physicists who have torn apart and dissected the atom to the microscopic tiniest piece, looking for themselves. Look at people looking into outer space and scouring each star and galaxy, trying to figure or find a trace of themselves. But one of the most bitter pills to swallow is that everything that you essentially have been taught or think you know is not a lie, but it's a dream. It doesn't actually exist as what you think. But the more you begin to realize who you are, the more you understand that the government and these systems aren't trying to lie to the people. There is no way to tell the people that we don't exist in space. that everything is a mental construct. That is why atomic matter is 99.999% empty space. It's a mental construct being projected by you for you. You are God, and you have gifted yourself this experience. What is the point? Because you wouldn't know anything otherwise. Nothing is separate. Therefore, you wouldn't know other people. You wouldn't know other places. You have gifted yourself this most divine and perfect experience. You couldn't come up with a more perfect experience if we tried. But that's the beauty in it. We've already done it. But we're missing it. We're missing the heaven, the ecstasy, each and every day, because we get in our cars and rush from place to place to get to our job, to come home, to remain unfulfilled. We're missing the ecstasy right before our eyes because we're rushing to get there. Home, work, here, there. We're missing the beauty in everything. We assume to know what this is, but we don't. We've never seen it before. Hopefully this video has given people some things to think on, some points to think on. Because remember, the final answer is love. If you're not at peace in your heart, and if you don't feel loved, it's not the answer. And that's why these government conspiracies are the blind leading the blind. They don't lead you into love. They lead you into projecting hell and misery on earth. Every which way you look, you're being poisoned, you're being, targeted, you're being victimized, you're being, it's overwhelming. You're missing the heaven on earth. You're missing the ecstasy right before your eyes. Stop and take a look around you. Stop and further inquire into who you think you are. And I will leave you with that. Farewell, my friends. One love.